Hey, I'd like to talk to you tonight about our service, and in particular, the reward for our service. I'll give you the lesson right up front. The greatest reward for your service is not what you get for it. It's what you become by it. And I'll tell you where God really drove this lesson home for me. It was many years ago. We had moved out of the high school into the strip mall location over on North Garland Avenue. And outside the entryway to the facility, there were overhead rafters. And pigeons loved to roost up there during the week. And so all week long, they would leave their little gifts all over the sidewalk. And it just really bugged me to no end that on Sunday morning you show up and there's just nothing but pigeon poop covering the sidewalk from one end to the other. And so what I started doing is every Saturday I'd go get a bucket of soapy water and a brush with about 2-inch long brushes on it. And I would start at one end of the sidewalk and work my way to the other. By the way, this is before we readily available things like power washers. So I was the power washer. But here's what happened is while I'm scrubbing that sidewalk and moving foot by foot, I found myself getting angrier and angrier the longer I was out there. I started thinking about, why am I the one that has to do this? I started thinking, why aren't there other people in the church that notice this, that this would matter? Why don't other people just volunteer and say, hey, we want our facility to look as best as possible when people come to visit us? Why did that value only matter to me? And I would just go through these thoughts and just keep on reinforcing them as I'm scrubbing. And by the time I'm done, I was just livid and judgmental. And I made a mistake of praying. You pray when you have a bad attitude, God's going to correct it. And so I started praying. I said, God, why am I the only one that cares about this sort of thing? And God said to me about as distinctively as he's ever said anything, I never told you to do this. And I was had, because he hadn't told me to do that, and my spirit showed it. And I realized that if serving the way I was serving was turning me into a grumpy, angry, judgmental person, then there was something seriously wrong about either where I was serving or how I was serving. And really it was both. And so that day I resigned my bucket and my brush. And I said, God, I'm showing it. I paid the price for doing something on my own accord and it not being what you wanted done, and my attitude showed it. So I'll leave this with you. The greatest reward for your service is not what you get for it. It's what you become by it. God bless you. See you again real soon.